And at this point, the midwife tries to touch, and this is an interesting translation by Google Translate from the Latin, tries to touch on Mary's sex secret, i.e. to check... now, I'm not a gynecologist, but surely you can't check after someone's given birth whether the hymen's still intact, because I would have thought the process of birth would surely have made sure that it wasn't anymore.
There's only a pregnant woman in the room, and I'm all scientific knowledge.
Anyway, the midwife tries to touch on Mary's sex secret, and crying out, "Her hands are withered."
Alas, me's betide an evil case. Me hands be dried up in this place. That feeling none have I. Vengeance on me is now light, for I would tempt God's might. Alas, that I came here tonight to suffer such annoy.
And having denied God and been punished, an angel appears so that there is some chance of redemption.
Woman, beseech this child of grace, that he forgive thee thy trespass, and ere thou go out of this place, holpen thou may be. This miracle that now thou seest here is of God's own power, to bring mankind out of danger, and mend them, leave thou me.
Ah, sweet child, I ask mercy, for thy mother's love, Mary. Though I have wrought wretchedly, sweet child, forgive it me.
And interesting point, having asked the baby to forgive him, him in this instance, her hands are healed. It's interesting that at no point do they ask Mary whether she felt violated or not, but never mind. But anyway, the hands are healed due to asking the baby's forgiveness.
Ah, blessed be God, all whole I am. Now leave I will and sickly, that God has come man to forby, and thou, Lord, thou art be.
And at this point, an expositor appears and explains precisely what's going on throughout all of this. So, lo, lordings of this miracle here, Friar Bartholomew in good manner beareth witness without wear, as played is you before. And other miracles, if I may, I shall rehearse or I go away, that befall that ilka day that Jesus Christ was born. We read in Chronicles expressed, sometime in Rome a temple was, made of so great riches that wonder was wittily. For all things in it, leave you me, was silver, gold, and rich pearly. Third part of the world, as read we, that temple was worthy. Of each province that book-mined mass, their God's image set there was, and each one about his neck has a silver bell hanging. And on his breast written also the land's name and God's too, and set also in midst of thou God of Rome right as a king. About the house also meaving there, a man on horse, stood men to steer, and in his hand he bare a spear, all pure dispiteously. That horse and man was made of brass. Turning about that image was, save certain priests, there might none pass for devil's fantasy. And when that any land with battle was ready Rome for to assail, the God's image without fail of that land range his bale, and turned his face dispiteously to God of Rome, as read I, in tokening that there were ready to fighting fresh and fell. The image also above standing, when the bell beneath began to ring, turned him, all sharply showing toward that land his spear. And when they saw this tokening, Rome ordained, without tarrying, an host to keep their coming, long or they came there. And on this manner soothly, by art of negromancy, all the world wittily to Rome were made to lout. And that temple there, doubtless, was called therefore the Temple of Peace, that through this slight battle can cease throughout the world about. But he that quaintly this work cast asked the devil, or he passed, how long that temple it should last that he there can build. The devil answered subtly, and said it should last sickly, until a maiden wemlessly had conceived a child. They heard and believed, therefore, it should endure for evermore. But that time that Christ was bore, it fell down sooth in high, of which house is seen this day somewhat standing in good fay, but no man dare go well that way for fiend's fantasy. That day was seen veriment 3 suns in the firmament, and wonderly together went and turned into one. The ox, the ass, there they were lent, honoured Christ in their intent, and mo miracles as we have meant to play right here anon. So this little aside talking about the pagan gods and the pagan temple of peace and how it fell. But now the Sibyl and the Emperor once again speak, and the Emperor is going to be terribly, terribly understanding. Rather in other versions of the cycle, the Emperor is rather tended to be a bit of a tyrant, rather like Herod, which is coming up soon. This one is a little more three-dimensional. Anyway, the Sibyl speaks to the Emperor.
Sir Emperor, God thee save and see. Look up on height after me. I tell you, sicker, that born is he that passeth thee of power. That barren thou seest so great shall be, to pass all kings, and eke thee that born are or ever were.
Ah, Sibyl, this is a wondrous sight. For yonder I see a maiden bright, a young child in her arms plight, a bright cross in his head. Honour I will that sweet wight with incense through all my might, for that reverence is most right, if that it be thy rede.
So, according to this version of the story, the Emperor is now converting, which he most emphatically did not do in real life. But it's interesting that the vision that he's seen the child, and the cross is mentioned, is prefigured already in his birth, that obviously this isn't going to go desperately well for him. Anyway, continue.
Incense bring, command I, and in high, to honour this child, King of mercy. Should I be God? Nay, nay, wittily, great wrong iwis it were, for this child is more worthy than such 1,000 as am I. Therefore to God most mighty incense I offer here.
And then the angel will appear and make a song saying, "This is the altar of the God of heaven," and they will hear it and be amazed.
Ah, Sibyl, hears not thou this song? My members all it goeth among, joy and bliss makes my heart strong to hear this melody. Sicker it may none other be, but this child is prince of paucity, and I his subject, as I see. He is most worthy.
Yea, sir, thou should live well this, somewhere in earth born he is, and that he comes for man's bliss, his tokening this can show. Reverence him, I rid I wis, for other God there none is, that hopes otherwise, he doth amiss, but for him, for Christ to know.
Sirs, senators, goes home anon, and warn my men, every one, that such worship I must forgone as they would do to me. But this child worship each man with full heart all that you can, for he is worthy to leave upon, and that now I will see.
O Lord, whatever this may be, this is a wondrous sight to see, for in the star, as thinks me, I see a full fair May. Sir, shall this child pass ye of worthiness and dignity? Such a lord, by my luty, I wouldn't ne'er had been none.
And as that senator moves off, the expositor once again tries to explain things. Laudings that this is by very sign know ye may, for in Rome in good fay there, as this thing was seen, was built a church in noble array, in worship of Mary, that sweet May, that yet lasts until this day, as men know there have been. And for to have full memory of the angel's melody, and of this sight sickly the emperor there knew. The church is called St. Mary, the surname is Araceli, that men know well thereby that this was fully true. Another miracle I find also at Christ's birth that fell though, when Salome attempted to know whether she was a May. Her hand rotted, as you have seen, thereby you may take good teen, that unbelief, moral of the story there everyone, ladies and gentlemen, is a foul sin, as you have seen within this play. And thus ends play 6. And in